If the United States vanished overnight, Mexico would collapse within a week. Every American person, building, and resource gone. No warning, no recovery plan. This isn't fiction. Here's exactly what would happen, hour by hour. Hour 1. Across the globe, $2 billion in exports vanish instantly. Flights grounded, ships stuck at ports. GPS signals flicker out as American satellites go dark. Mexico is the first domino. Its economy is deeply interwoven with the U.S. Factories shut, supply chains severed. Panic spreads in Monterrey and Mexico City as truck convoys halt. Semiconductors designed in the U.S., vital for everything from phones to cars, grind to a halt worldwide. The shockwave hits Asia's electronics factories next. Airlines face grounded fleets without parts. The world's nervous system shuts down. But that's just hour 1. What happens next is far worse. Day 1, global markets implode. The US dollar, which makes up 59% of global foreign reserves, disappears. Trillions vanish in minutes. New York and NASDAQ markets, totaling $48 trillion in market cap, freeze in chaos. Communications falter as internet infrastructure reliant on U.S. data centers, almost 25% worldwide, goes dark. Social media giants vanish, disrupting news flow and emergency response. Supply chains spiral into panic. Semiconductor shortages send ripples into smartphone and car production. Europe braces for energy shortages, reliant on U.S. LNG exports. Mexico's collapse accelerates into riots. Financial systems teeter on the brink, and this is where it gets truly terrifying. 1 week, supply chains shatter beyond repair. Aircraft shortages hit global markets. The U.S. accounts for roughly 50% of aerospace exports. Boeing and Lockheed parts vanish overnight, grounding jets worldwide. Energy crisis intensifies. 13% of the world's energy supply disappears with U.S. oil exports of 3.2 million barrels per day and 150 BCM of natural gas exports. Europe scrambles for alternatives. Asia faces fuel rationing. Food prices spike as the U.S., responsible for 40% of global corn exports and leading beef and poultry shipments, disappears from world markets. Brazil and Argentina try to fill the gap, but can't meet demand. Nations like Japan and South Korea face shortages in electronics and food. Social unrest spreads globally. If you think that's bad, wait until you see what happens to NATO. 1 month, geopolitical power vacuum explodes. NATO, anchored by U.S. leadership, fractures as member states scramble for security. ANZUS and bilateral agreements collapse without the U.S. commitment. 5,800 nuclear warheads vanish from secure sites. Unsecured weapons spark fears of proliferation or accidents. China moves aggressively in the Indo-Pacific, asserting dominance. Japan, left exposed, accelerates military expansion, but struggles without U.S. support. Russia exploits the chaos in Eastern Europe. Global diplomatic institutions falter. The world security apparatus unravels, ushering in a new era of instability. 6 months, new alliances form amid chaos. China and Russia deepen ties, carving spheres of influence. The European Union pushes for strategic autonomy, but faces internal divisions. India and Australia seek new partnerships to counterbalance Beijing. Trade routes reroute around the collapsed U.S. economy. Countries like Germany and Brazil suffer most, heavily reliant on lost American markets and technology. China benefits most, absorbing displaced markets and resources. The world adapts, but at a staggering human and economic cost. 1 year later, a new world order emerges from the ashes. Global GDP shrinks dramatically, with the lost $26.9 trillion American economy a gaping hole. China rises as the dominant superpower, controlling trade, technologies, and military influence. Europe struggles to maintain cohesion without US backing. Japan fortifies its defenses, but remains vulnerable. The global financial system reorients away from the dollar, now replaced by a fragmented basket of currencies. Technological innovation slows. US firms drove nearly half of global cloud and AI markets. The world is poorer, less secure, and more fractured. 5 years. The long-term reality settles in. Permanent loss of American-led innovation, and finance reshapes industries. Semiconductor design and pharmaceutical R&D collapse to 50% declines globally. Military balance shifts permanently. No one comes close to US global power projection, with 750 overseas bases. The US cultural and technological dominance evaporates. Some nations have replaced lost food exports, but crop diversity and scale never recover. The dollar's reserve status is lost forever. The world is smaller, slower, and more dangerous. Let's look at the final impact scorecard. Trade, 910. Energy, 810. Geopolitics, 1010. Finance, 1010. Tech, 1010. Food, 710. Military, 1010. Cultural, 810. Overall, 9.210. Catastrophic. Would the world recover? Slowly, painfully, yes. But the one thing the world could never replace is American global leadership in security, innovation, and finance. Without it, chaos and power struggles reign, and recovery is incomplete. The US was the fulcrum of modern civilization. Without it, the world tilts into uncertainty. If you made it this far, you understand how connected our world really is. Subscribe next week. What if China vanished?